Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo 7. I'm back with a new track guide for this week's Daily Race C. It's at Deep Forest in Group 2. Now for this guide you are going to be using the Mercedes CLK because this car is ultimately the only car you can really use for the race. All the other cars just cannot keep up with this car. It's too fast over a lap and it's insanely quick on the straights. So you literally have no chance unless you use this car for the qualifying and also the race. So make sure you get this car. You can rent it out if you don't own this car. Remember, you can rent these cars for free without buying them. So that's what I've done for this guide on my second account. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a few tips with this car and through the corners and stuff to try and help you get as fast a lap as possible. I did this lap on stream yesterday. It's not the best lap, but it should be a good enough guide to give you the basics of the track and get you reasonably up to speed so you can compete as well as you can at this combination. So let's get this track guide started. Let's try and find you as much pace as possible and let's see if we can make you into that top 5 or 3 on the grid. And remember, if you do enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button and give it a thumbs up because it really does help me out with these videos and helps them gather a bit of momentum. So let's get this started, starting your lap. So obviously, first things first, final corner. Might not sound too important, but make sure you get quite a strong exit off that corner. Try and get the traction out of there, just because every tiny little bit helps down this straight. So you might only be going like 1/4 of a mile per hour faster over the line, but that will affect your time on the finishing line. So you might as well try and get that good exit. So going past the start finishing line into turn 1, you're going to be looking for the 100 board on your right hand side. You can see it there. And you're going to be braking dead on that, almost right on that 100 board. You can see we're on the brakes there now, and we're going down through the gears. Now, what you want to do is you really want to try and get this quite narrow into the apex, but you can take quite a wide line. So there's 2 different lines. You can see the Ghost in front taking that really tight line to the corner. I take a wider line down to first gear, then up to second gear and get on the throttle and take a wider apex and a later apex and get on that throttle a little bit earlier. But the tighter line is a tiny bit faster. So yeah, make sure you use first gear as well. First gear is so important. So now we're going to get the left-hand tyre onto the curb on the left-hand side here and then try and widen the line into this right-hand corner. You can see you're going to try and use the curbs on every single apex here. So again, right-hand tyre on this right curb. Try to be careful it doesn't unsettle the car there. And then into this next section here, again, left-hand tyre onto the curb again. You can actually take quite a lot of this curb with this car. It's quite good over the curbs. And then onto the brakes just as you come off the curb. And now you're going to be going down to second gear. And then again, first gear for rotation on the corner. You're going to see it as we come into this corner now. You can see there, we really want to rotate it into the apex. So down to first gear, then back up to second gear on the throttle. And use some of the width on the track exit there by the wall on the left. And then just as you're going past the curb on the left hand side, onto the brakes, a little bit past the curb if anything, you're going to start braking. And then back down to first gear again for rotation. And you want to get your right hand tyre onto that white line really, so that you can really get on the power for the exit. You can see the car in front staying very narrow all the way through that corner. That is the fastest line to do. You want to keep it nice and tight to the apex. On the throttle again. Through here, get your left hand tyre onto the green Astro, almost just keeping your right hand tyre on the right hand side of the white line. If you manage to do that, you won't get a penalty. If you go over it, you can get a penalty. And then, again, use the curb on your right hand tyre here. So make sure you get your right hand tyre up onto the curb. As soon as you're on the exit of the curb, you're going to get on the brakes and start chucking the car into the left. You can see we're already going to chuck this car over to the left hand side. Use the left hand tyre onto the curb and try and get on that throttle to carry some speed through this exit. So you see onto the throttle on the exit, early upshift to fourth gear here just to get a bit of momentum on the exit, and then use that change of colour on the tarmac as a bit of a reference for where you're going to brake. You're going to brake just past that. So you can see braking going in, and now we're going to try and get this car rotated for this left hand corner. Now this corner is extremely important for exit speed. Down to first gear, you can see for the rotation that first gear gives you with this car, and then try and get on that throttle as early as possible. So up to second gear before we get to the curb. You see into second gear, left hand tyre is going to get as close to that curb as possible, and then get on the throttle aggressively. And you can use the full width of this track. Don't be scared to get the car out on the right hand side. You can see now the Ghost up ahead, also getting the car onto the Astro. I get the car onto the Astro. You get a better exit speed and you do not get a penalty. So just don't be scared to do that. You'll gain a little bit of time by doing it as well. Now we're going to be working our way down into the next braking zone, which again, you're going to brake just above the board above your head there. You can see the Gran Turismo board almost dead in between the 150 and the 100 board. That is your braking reference. You can see the shadow there also, and you can see braking inputs going right underneath that. And now you can brake tiny bit later, but it's very difficult this corner. You've got to get that braking point almost perfect to utilize, to get the best lap out of this car. Now at this point you want to be getting the car squared off and rotated for this apex. So again, down to first gear, get that left hand tire very close to the curb, and then as soon as you're on the throttle, you're going to early upshift the second gear just for a bit of traction on the exit. Use some of the whip for the track if you need to. Now you don't have to do that, but if you feel that the car's going to start spinning out, if you don't, make sure you do that, because you don't want to put too much steering input on the exit. And then you're going to power your way all the way over to the finishing line, and we're going to go over the line for a reasonably solid lap. It's not an amazing lap, it's a 1 minute 17.3, but it's good enough to put us towards the front of the grid, and hopefully that guide will help you out in improving you on this combination. So let's watch the lap from the chase camera again and just go through the lap. So you can see here, I take quite a wide line in. I would have rather have got the car a little bit closer to the apex there, but we do manage to square it off and get quite good exit speed up this hill. And again, you look at the left-hand tyre onto the curb, right-hand tyre onto the curb, left-hand tyre onto the curb. It's very important to do that and keep it smooth all the way through. You really want to use that first gear as well to help you rotate your car through the corners. Again, through here, you can see that first gear helps rotate the car, then that gives you the ability to get on the throttle that little bit early. And this corner is all about momentum and chucking the car in. You've got to be chucking the car in at the exact right point to get that left-hand tyre to skim the curb on the left. Again here, close to the curb, use the full width for the track. Just look how much of the track we use on the exit there to help us get that speed all the way down straight. And it's so important to get this exit speed there, because every little bit of extra speed you get there is amplified all the way down this straight. So, a tiny bit gain there is a tenth by the end of the straight. So remember that. And again, this final corner, you see, by the end of the curb, we're almost rotating the car in at the end of the curb. And again, using that width for the exit there, and then powering your way all the way to the finishing line. Just try and take the shortest line possible, as straight a line as possible, through to the finish here, keeping it to the left, and then straighten the car up, and then it's just a case of to the finish line and that 1 minute 17.3. So yeah, let me know in the comments if it's helped you out. Hopefully it will have done. Hopefully it's helped you improve. I'll be doing more of these for daily races and the time trial track guides. We already have the Super Formula track guide on the channel, so make sure you check that out if you're interested in the 2 million credits that you can earn from that one. But I'll see you all soon. Thanks again for watching. Bye everyone.